Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. This is the Hippo Club. I'm your host, Haiti, and today we're going to discuss seven tips to run a small Axie guild in the Axie Infinity world. So today we're going to go through some of the tips and the tips and tricks and some of the the lessons that I've learned trying to run a small size Axie Infinity guild, about 10 people, size of 10 people, more or less of that. So without further ado, let's begin. Okay. So when you're running an Axie Infinity guild, I think the first thing is always to keep a record, right? Always to keep a record. You don't have a lot of people on your team. You don't have a lot of resources. So everything's on a tight budget. So you have to keep a record what you did, what is your current, asset that's in the business. How many access do you have? What's the cash balance? By day, what did you do? What's the expense and what's the income? So I think that's very important. You have to keep a record to make everything clear. Number two, when you're running a guild, especially on a tight budget, you always have to keep looking at the market price for AXS, right? For Ethereum. Especially when you're on a tight budget, you always are going to convert your Ether to AXS or the other way around. So you're always going to make that transfer. And then the gas is quite expensive. So you have to always look at the prices, and sometimes to determine whether you want to wait a bit before the market goes up, or you want to do it right now before the market goes down. So that is always a bit of a judgment. And some of the tools I use to determine that is by going to the DApp radar. The DApp radar sometimes shows the some of the current volumes and everything, especially when you click on Axie Infinity. You can kind of see, right, at a 30-day average, what's the average kind of volume that's going on. So the higher the value, obviously more activity is going on. The price or of Axie Infinity are likely to go along with higher if the volume goes high, if the users are going up, right? You can look at that kind of metrics to determine whether the trend of AXS is going to down or going up, and then you can compare that to Ethereum, see if sometimes it's a good trade or not. So that kind of can avoid some of the pain and some of the extra expense when you're converting from Ether to AXS. So that's number two. Okay, number three, let's talk about breeding a little bit. Obviously, you're running a small team on this. There's not a big farm that's going on, right? If you're running a small team like 10 people, 15 people or less, you don't have a lot of money to invest in a bigger farm. You have a very small farm, and then to utilize those SLP that you get, either you bought or either you got from your scholars, you have to use them wisely, right? You have to use them wisely. The Axies that you breed, you don't want to breed just random Axies. You want to breed high quality. You want to breed high quality, as hot on the market that everyone wants it, and that's rare, right? You want to breed those Axies to make the best bang of your buck, right? It's the same for AXS. It's the same 600, 300 SLP, but the Axies that you breed determines a lot, actually. The income that you will get from running this business, from running this guild. So that is actually has the obviously we'll do another video to actually talk to go into deeper dive into how to breed better Axies. But you want to match those genes, those type of genes together to breed the Axies that you want. Start from the end. Think what you want to breed first, then reverse engineer, right? in order to get there, what kind of things do you need to do? So start from the end. What kind of Axies you want, then go and reverse backwards. So that's a bigger picture strategy and how to do it. So those Axies that you breed, it determines your income. Just remember that. Number 4. Okay, number 4, it's your income stream. A lot of people thinking running a guild is your income is your SLP. Actually, from my personal experience, that's not the case. The income that I got from running the guild is all actually selling the Axies. It's all about breeding, and it all came from the breeding side. Actually, it all came from the breeding side. The Axies that I bred, either I give it to the scholars, or if not, I just sell them. And then the SLP I got from the scholars, they all went into breeding, right? So rarely that I buy SLP, because all of the SLP I got is from the scholars. So the income actually is from selling the Axies, from breeding. That's the big part. I think people that could be mistaken that, running a small guild, running a small scholarship program, that your income is getting from SLP. Actually, I think that is not correct. I think that your income is actually on breeding, because all the SLP will be spent on breeding, then turn into sold Axies, and then that's the income. So that's very important. Let's talk about number 5. Number 5, the trick is from a small scholarship program, you want to grow bigger. I want to grow bigger. The biggest thing about growing to a bigger program is actually essentially growing a bigger farm. Is actually growing a bigger farm. If you really think about it, all the SLP that you got, turn it into breeding, and then in order to breed more Axies, you have to spend more, to put your income into investment in your business, right? You actually have to grow your farm bigger and get more Axies to be sold, get more Axies to the scholars. So essentially, if you want to build a bigger scholarship program, you essentially have to grow your farm. You have to get bigger, better at breeding, and that is a skill set that we all need to get better at. So number 6, let's talk about the management level. So when you're what my take is, when you're running an Axie program, management I think is very important. I try to keep my scholars very active and very engaged within the guild. We do a lot of we do have our own avatars. We call ourselves the Hippo. We do have events within the guild every week. So I think my trick that I want to share, one thing is that from all the SLP that I get from our scholars, me personally, I take 1 to 2% off from my level, from my pay. I took them off and put them into a reward pool, and those pools are accumulating as time goes. And once they hit a certain level, we try to get out an event, right? We try to get out an event. For example, last week we did something like a hippo race, where we do a contest and see which scholar can farm the highest or the best performer, and they will get rewarded. And those pools are going back to the scholars within the guild. And this week we're doing something else. We're doing a contest where we answering questions within the guild, and the correct answer will get free SLP. So something like that, right? To help the blood running, to help the guild fresh and engaged, everyone excited and having fun. And that's very, very important. So I guess the number 7, my last advice or that I can give is that always to give a little bit more than you receive. I think that's very important, especially running those kind of programs. Giving is essential. Just pay your scholars well, pay them well, make sure that they're happy, and then make sure that you give them more than you receive. My intention within my scholarship program is that every scholar should get at least 70% of the cut. Obviously now all my scholars are at 50-50, but as time goes and the longevity of the program and that scholars are staying in, gradually their pay should be increased, either by 5%, 10%. You know, that's how I see it. So periodically I try to raise the percentage for my scholars, and my goal is every scholar at my program will get a 70% cut. Yeah, that's about it. That's about the 7 tricks and tip advice that I can give when you're running a small team. And I hope everyone enjoys their day, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.